What's up, everybody? Welcome to yet another episode of the Two Worlds podcast. I'm Jake, and with me, as always, is the Daenerys Targaryen to my Khal Drogo. It's Casey. What's up, buddy?
Okay, so Khal Drogo, I know, is Aquaman.
Yeah.
And then I'm assuming the other one is the Dragon Lady, correct?
Yes.
And they be doing it.
They do be doing it.
I love how, like, whenever I do this, it's always, oh, this is friends, and when you do it, it's like, no, that these two are people that are doing it.
Look, I think some episodes we need to address all of the heavy sexual tension on the show.
It's gonna be even more heavy whenever we're doing this together.
I know. But anyway, how's your week been?
I mean, so far so good. I mean, it's only Monday though. I'm no Garfield. I'm not gonna be like, this is terrible.
Fair enough.
How about you, man?
Yeah, that's okay. The lady tested positive for COVID today, so hoping that I don't get it.
Yeah. You just kick her outside. Like, stay out there till you're better.
No, not exactly.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, we have plenty of news, so let's just get right into it.
You have plenty of news. You're basically Raisin Bran Crunch over here with all the scoops.
I like that. That was good.
Thanks. I literally thought of it today. I'm like, I have to remember to say this because I am proud of it.
You should be. You should trademark that. All right. So first and foremost, we got a She-Hulk trailer this week. Did you watch it? And if so, what did you think?
I did watch it, and the CGI, like, I'm gonna pile on it with everyone else. It's terrible. But as far as the show itself goes, looks pretty good. It's just horrible CGI.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all. I'm hoping that it's one of those, like, not finished yet. You know, they just put something out for the trailer.
I mean,
but
they've been saying that since our first look at the She-Hulk. It's like, it's not finished, guys. Don't worry. And it's like, I mean, that's what you said, and I believed you, but I don't know anymore, guys.
Well, actually, I do believe that is the finished product because there was some questionable CG in Moon Knight, and it's just, I'm sure I've said it before, but it's just not acceptable. Disney has unlimited money.
It does, but it's for a streaming TV show. It's not for a movie. That's the big difference. It's, budgeting wise, I get why it's gonna look kind of not good. It's just like, if you can't do this, if you for the stuff that you want to do, there's ways to work around it. And also, don't do She-Hulk for a TV show if the CGI that you want to do isn't there yet.
Yeah.
Or just cast like the biggest jacked lady you can find and just do Lou Ferrigno it.
Right. I mean, I wouldn't hate that idea.
And that is one thing that I dislike about the She-Hulk design. And I don't know if you'll agree with me, but She-Hulk, for the most part, I mean, outside of like the really dumb when she was stupid one where they made her way too big, she still was always muscular and big. This just looks like a tall green lady.
Right.
Like, you literally could have just painted her and be like, yep, there she goes. Like, she doesn't have this, it doesn't look like she'd be super strong. And that was a letdown too.
Yeah, I agree. You want me to do another one, or?
Yeah, you're beating me on this, so I'll let you.
Okay. I added this because I thought, what if it's a small news week like last week? But then it wasn't. But anyway, Stanley Universe LLC sold a license to Marvel for the next 20 years to use Stan's likeness in TV, movies, and theme parks. So I guess they're gonna, Grand Moff Tarkin his likeness and more cameos probably.
They're gonna have him like just a guy dressed like Stanley walk around Disneyland like Excelsior all the time.
It's funny because, like, everywhere that my grandpa goes,
I know.
He gets people that tell him, did you know, has anyone ever told you look like Stan Lee? He gets that all the time. So maybe they should be paying my grandpa to be doing these cameos.
he needs to set up a Cameo account and be like, just call himself a Stan Lee impersonator.
Yeah.
Even though he does, I remember when he was at Free Comic Book Day, he really didn't know who Stan Lee was, so he'll just be like, good job. Like that's not what he says.
So he came in and he was like, and this is a legit story. I know I've told Casey, but this is for the listeners. My grandpa came at, well, both my grandparents came and helped at like our first Free Comic Book Day. And they stood outside and talked to people and kind of watched over the quarter books. And somebody told him that he looked like Stan Lee. My grandpa had no idea who Stan Lee was and thought that they were saying Stanley. And so he came in, he's like, who the heck is Stanley? Because I've had like 2 or 3 people tell me that I look like Stanley. So I had to explain all of it. And that's one of my like favorite wholesome grandpa moments that I've ever had.
Yeah,
So
it's awesome.
All right. Moving on.
Okay, so
go ahead.
Joshua Williamson announced via Twitter he's leaving Robin at issue 17. So I mean,
hopefully the series is done at 17 then.
I mean, I'm fine with someone else taking over as long as it's someone good. You know, like I think Robin deserves its own title.
No, I agree. You know that I love that 90s one that ran for like, gosh, almost 200 issues. I think it was around 150 or 175.
Yeah.
It and Nightwing both were like right up there. That was a great series, mostly because of Chuck Dixon, but the writers that came later too were pretty good as well.
So who do you want to take over for Williamson?
Probably the guy that's doing Flash, if I'm honest.
I was thinking the same thing, but I'm like, I don't want him to leave Flash. I want him on Flash for forever.
Well, he can do both. You know, he can get more than one title.
Yeah.
What about you?
I don't know. I mean, trying to think of someone that. Let's go with the old. I'm gonna pull Iron Fist. Alyssa Wong. I like Alyssa Wong a lot, and get her on a DC book.
Sure. All right. To the surprise and awe of everybody, the Wonder Twins movie has been canceled.
I saw that.
They didn't really say why, but I think we all know why. So,
well, I'm going to say this. I think we're going to see a lot more cancellations coming, because I mean, there was all those CW shows that got canceled, and then because like this merger stuff's happening now, so it's like a lot of budgetary stuff's going to be coming down. We're probably going to be seeing a lot more really dumb reality TV shows coming from the Warner Brothers stuff, because that's cheap and it makes money. And I have a feeling Titans and Doom Patrol better watch their back, because I wouldn't be surprised if those get put on the chopping block also.
I sure hope not, but we'll see.
I mean, at the very least, their budgets probably are going to be hurting.
Yeah, true. I sadly, as much as I don't like to say it, of the two, I think Doom Patrol would certainly get canceled over Titans.
More than likely. It really depends on, again, the budget of each, but with the way this last season of Doom Patrol goes, I wouldn't be surprised if it got canceled. I wasn't super hot on it personally.
I still need to see it, unfortunately. At that end, I made it through halfway through Titans and just lost track of time and didn't finish that one either. So
someday I'm gonna watch Titans.
Man, I think it's solid. I really do.
Yeah.
Okay. So Nicole Cassell is going to direct and produce a pilot episode for a live action She-Ra series through Amazon. They announced Nicole this week, so we'll see what comes of that pilot. I really hope it gets made and it's good, obviously.
Yeah.
But at least we're starting to get some names attached to the project.
Do you know anything about this person or anything about,
Nope.
Okay.
Nothing.
All right.
I mean, I whenever they listed it, I saw what they were or had worked on, and I was like, I have no idea what that is, but
I got you, man.
hopefully they're the right person for it.
Yeah. So speaking of things being canceled, like how we talked about earlier with, Riverdale is going to end at season 7, which I'm kind of surprised. I figured they'd try to milk that for at least 10 seasons because it seemed like that was pretty popular, but
Dude, the
seemed,
guy that plays Archie better be put on a watch list after this week.
why?
Wonder Twins.
Oh, I forgot that he was in one. Yeah, he was I forgot about that. But I mean, I think that he's better off for that one. Now you can get like a good superhero role.
True. Okay. I think the rest of my stuff is actually comic book related. So we're getting an Ultra 7 series coming to Marvel in August. That will be done by Kyle Higgins and Matt Groom. So if you've liked the Ultraman series, you're probably going to want to stick around for Ultra 7. Casey, I imagine that this is probably a little bit exciting.
It is. I mean, it's like it's not surprising. Excuse me one sec. It's not surprising at all because it ends with Ultra 7 appearing in the last series. It's dumb that we're having to wait till August. I figured it'd be happening in this month or last month because it seems like it was a long time ago when the last Ultraman series ended.
It does indeed.
So yeah, I mean, I think Marvel's kind of like losing its shine on Ultraman. I think it's kind of going like, oh, we're not making enough money with this.
Well, sure sounds like Marvel and their
Yeah.
comics properties. Conan, I'm sure Alien will be next.
Yeah. Okay, so Jay Lee is teaming up with Robert Wyndham to do a creator-owned book called Seven Sons. And then on Instagram, he posted some of the art. And like, I love Jay Lee so much, but I really didn't care much for the art that I saw. I'm probably still going to check it out because, again, I love Jay Lee so much. And this is his first creator-owned book in a good long while. So, got to give him some money somehow.
Don't tell Tom King. He'll want to cancel it.
Yeah, he'll be like, that man that's a part of a hate group. Me, the white guy, is calling this Asian man a hate-filled, racist person.
Oh man, Tom King is garbage.
But yeah, so he's doing this, and like I said, I saw this stuff on Instagram. It might just be the character designs for like what they were supposed to be. That's why I didn't like it. It wasn't like, I mean, like, look, the art looks good. It's Jay Lee's art, but it's just the design I wasn't super hot on. Like I said, still gonna check it out. Still should be pretty cool to look at. I don't know the writer at all though.
Maybe he is. I don't know.
No, it was Robert Wyndham is the dude's name.
Oh, okay. I'm listening. The thing is you had talked about Iron Fist a second ago, and I was like, crap, I don't have my comics. So I had to get my comics, and then I was taking them out while you were saying all that.
I could see you, and I was just like, amateur hour.
I know, right?
They don't do this crap on the Testing Room podcast.
No, they don't. But they let me complain, which is why they get the stamp of approval. Okay. So we are getting one final deceased book from Tom Taylor and Trevor Hairsine this August. And it's going to be called War of the Undead Gods. So if you guys liked the other deceased books, this will be the final chapter of old Tommy Taylor's deceased saga.
Until, they go, hey, Tom Taylor, you want to do another one? He goes, sure.
Yeah, probably. Although, dude, at this point, since he's like one of DC's bigger writers, he might have a lot of other stuff like in the works for a while.
Yeah. Okay, so we're getting a new Daredevil series. It's coming to Disney Plus with Matt Corman and Chris Orb to write and executive produce. And then one thing that was also kind of neat, what's her name from Jessica, whatever,
Jessica Jones.
that's the one. There's some pictures of her and Luke Cage together also that were like, like, oh, look at that. So like everyone's like, hey, we're gonna get Luke Cage and Jessica Jones back too. And then there's no mention of Iron Fist. So like that makes everyone even happier.
Everyone but me.
Yeah.
I don't think that those two will get, unless they do like a team up series, I don't think they'll get their own series. I think they'll just be in other stuff.
I
Like,
think that, yeah, I do too.
I still think Jessica Jones will be in She-Hulk. We
I think
talked
she'll
about
be
that
in
months ago.
I think she'll be in She-Hulk. I think Luke Cage will be in something else. And then they might even try to do like how they do in a lot of TV shows now, where they'll do like a backdoor pilot. So it'll be like this episode of She-Hulk's very heavy on Jessica Jones, which they probably won't do because I think it's only 9 episodes, so they can't really do that. But do something similar to that, where, oh yeah, we're having this or they might even do one shots. Who the heck knows? Where they can then test stuff out that way. I think that would make sense. Who knows?
Either way, it's exciting. I saw your notes and I trust your notes, but I had to go Google it and find a story. I was like, really?
Yeah,
I'm so excited.
It'd be hilarious though if everyone's like super pumped and they're like, and we got Ben Affleck, the one you guys wanted, right?
Dude, I'd still watch it.
I would too, but it's still like when you're hoping for Charlie Cox's Daredevil and you get Ben Affleck's Daredevil, that's like hoping for Charlie Cox's Daredevil and getting Ben Affleck. It's just terrible.
All right, let's talk about old Tom King's new series that was announced. Tom King and Mitch Gerads are doing Batman One Bad Day, which will be giving the Riddler his quote killing joke story, because Tom King literally just wants to be Alan Moore, down to the 9-panel layout, and using all of his characters basically.
That's that is something that just really irks me. And this is also a Jeff Johns thing. Tom King does it, a bunch of people do it. It's like, to me, a lot of these writers and these creators should stick together. And if you look at how DC treated Alan Moore, you would be, they should be like, oh yeah, we shouldn't steal stuff that he did and try to use his name to make us more money, because he's clearly a very angry, bitter man over the way DC treated him. And I don't know. It's just, it doesn't really, like, the more when I was younger, I was always like, Alan Moore is in the wrong for this. And now I kind of look back, I'm like, no, I think DC kind of screwed him over and did it enough that it just made this person that loves something so much, and then they just kind of took that away from him, and that's pretty terrible.
It is. Like, yeah, he's a crazy magician that lives
wizard.
In solitude. Yeah, wizard.
He's a wizard, not a magician. There's a big difference.
Yeah, one can do real magic.
Yeah, one looks like him, and the other one will pull rabbits out of a hat. So, right. Boy, just think if you have a kid someday and you hire Alan Moore as the magician.
Yeah, so back to the matter at hand. I'm not excited for this. I don't think this needs to be made. We don't need Tom King trying to be Alan Moore yet again. He's gonna try so hard to be, witty and deep with this series, and unfortunately everyone is going to love it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And yeah, I'm still just not sold on trying to, if he was trying to market it as something else than just his version of the Killing Joke for this character, it'd be different. But trying just to hop on, like I said, I'm not even his biggest fan, a legend's coattails to sell your own story, a very bitter legend. It'd be different too if it was like Grant Morrison, where Grant seems to, even though he doesn't like certain things they did, they still seem to like comic books, and they aren't just this bitter, angry person that got this just chewed up and spit out by DC. if if Tom was like, I'm doing my version of Animal Man that Grant Morrison did, doing that, then I'd be like, okay, that's a little bit better. But like using
Right.
Alan Moore's name like that is just, I don't know, it kind of grosses me out.
It would crack me up if Alan Moore came out and was like, Tom King, I hate everything that you do. just that his hero just pulls him down like he's tried
Yeah,
to pull down a bunch of other creators for a bunch of nothing.
yeah.
Anyway, all right. So DC is doing a new Batman Inc. series, as well as a Batman versus Robin miniseries. Now, my initial thought was to roll my eyes at Batman versus Robin, and maybe yours was too, Casey. But Mark Waid is going to be writing it, and it will be a spinoff of the current World's Finest series that he's doing. So,
All right.
it's not going to be something super serious, I don't think, because that book isn't too serious.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Mahmoud Asrar is going to be doing the art on that one.
That sounds like a name that I've mispronounced before. What else have they done?
Dude, a lot. Like a
Okay.
lot. I can't pinpoint one thing, but a lot.
Okay.
And then I couldn't find a creative team for Batman Inc. I mean, I would imagine Joshua Williamson, right? But that is not for sure. And
I don't know. It sounds like Williamson's focusing a lot more on Dark Crisis and that type of stuff. So he might not be on that.
yeah,
So
true.
because that was one of his reasons for leaving Robin, was to focus on all of his crisis-y books that he's doing.
I see. Well, hopefully it's a writer that I like. But I could also see it like Tim Seeley or someone like that doing it. You know what I mean?
Cy
But
Spurrier.
anyway, yeah, maybe. So we'll see what happens there.
Okay, and then we have the winner of the round robin. Drum roll. It is Superboy, so that's pretty exciting. I'm pretty happy about that. So
Nice. I am too. I will be checking that out. Okay. So we're going to talk about the Eisner Awards a little bit. Unfortunately, the book that got the most Eisner Award nominations for 2022 was Nightwing.
your favorite.
I know. It is what it is. I'm glad that the character is as popular as he is right now. I just wish that these folks knew what a good Nightwing series was. And then I think it actually tied maybe with Wonder Woman Historia. So that's pretty cool. But apart from that, I wanted to talk about some of the major categories and then just kind of pick your brain on it.
Right.
So for best single issue or one shot, there was Marvel Voices Identity, Mouse Guard, The Owlin Caregiver, Nightwing 87, Get Grayson, Wolvendaughter, and then Wonder Woman Historia. I know Mouse Guard. I didn't know what Wolvendaughter was, and I looked up a thing and was like, "Oh, this sounds pretty neat." Can't order it anywhere. I guess it's maybe European or something like that, but
Okay.
can't find it. So any thoughts on any of those?
Not really, I'll be honest.
All right. Best continuing series. We've got Bitter Root, The Department of Truth, Immortal Hulk, Nightwing, and Something's Killing the Children. So 2 for Mr. James Tynan in that category. But
Yeah.
Any opinions there?
Yeah, I do not understand the love for Mortal Hulk as someone that read literally every single issue. I just don't get it. And then Department of Truth, it just really lost me. So it's kind of weird that that one's on there too. Like I good for Tynan. I'm happy for him, but yeah, it just didn't do anything for me.
I hear Bitterroot is good, and I hear Something Is Killing the Children is also very good, but I've
Yeah,
not read either one of them.
that's one of those ones I wish I would have hopped on when it first started up, but I was like, I don't need another Tynan book. And then
Yeah, because a first printed issue one sells for so much money.
yeah.
All right, best limited series. We've got Beta Ray Bill by Daniel Warren Johnson, The Good Asian, Hocus Pocus, The Many Deaths of Layla Starr, Stray Dogs, and Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. That Tom King book that probably wasn't any good.
I mean, if I was a bet man and if this was like the Oscars, I would go with Layla Starr is going to win it. But I think Good Asian and Better Ray Bill were better.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the only one of those I read was Beta Ray Bill, and I really wanted to win.
Yeah.
For Daniel Warren Johnson, and because I love that character and that series.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'd probably go with like, yeah, I think, like I said, I would put my money on Layla Starr winning because I just, like I said, if it's like the Oscars, because that's like it seems like an award book, if that makes sense.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, those three are all good choices as long as it's not Tom King.
Okay. Best new series. Got The Human Target, The Nice House on the Lake, Not All Robots, Radiant Black, and Ultra Mega.
I hope Ultra Mega wins. What's Not All Robots also? Is that like whenever there was that hashtag on Twitter where it was like, yes, all women, and it's like them telling these horrible stories of like, stuff happened to them, then like guys would comment on it, like, not all men.
I
So
have
it's
no
people,
idea.
I like to think it's people just complaining about robots like killing them, and then like these other robots are like, not all robots are killing you.
I mean, here's what's crazy, Casey. It could be because Mark Russell writes it.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, could it 100% could be a parody of
Yes.
that. I mean, I kind of wish we would have read that.
Yeah. Okay. And then I'll just do like best writer and artist because there's just too much on this list.
Yeah.
Okay, best writer. We've got Ed Brubaker for his Destroy All Monsters and Friend of the Devil. Kelly Sue DeConnick for Wonder Woman Historia. Felipe Melo for Ballad of Sophie. Ram V for The Many Deaths of Layla Starr, Swamp Thing, Carnage, and Venom. And then James Tynan for everything else in comics.
Yeah. Like I think as far as like the best story I read be Brubaker, but it's like it kind of has to go to either Ram or Tynan because they just wrote so much good quality stuff.
Yeah. Let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, I mean, I won't go through the rest of this list, but lots of good stuff that maybe wouldn't usually get talked about is getting talked about, which I think is pretty neat.
Yeah.
So yeah. Any hoozle. Oh, real quick, before we take our ad break, we had a YouTube comment last week from Eric. Hello, Eric. Eric comes into the shop every week. He says, I would recommend Frank Miller's Daredevil run. It pretty much influenced all runs after it. John Ostrander's Suicide Squad, especially if you like James Gunn's movie. John Byrne's She-Hulk, a fun, enjoyable run. And Chuck Dixon / Gail Simone's Birds of Prey, best version of the team that never gets its justice in live action. So thank you, Eric, for sharing yours.
I didn't even know Chucky D did a Birds of Prey.
He started it.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, that's news to me. Have you read it?
I've read parts of it, not the whole thing.
Yeah. And then also before we go to break, we finally released the first episode of Anime Boys. It's Rurouni Kenshin. Give it a listen. It's the first 6 episodes. You can watch all those first. You don't even have to watch them. We talk about them. So
Yeah. And if you want to prep for the next episode, we're going to be doing the first 6 episodes of Gundam.
and you can watch that all on Crunchyroll for free. You have to watch ads though. It's like the same ad over and over again too.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but
Yeah.
it might even make some people get Crunchyroll. All right. So now we'll take our ad break and then we'll come back and review some comics. Okay, Casey, I actually have a story this week.
Ooh, story time.
Yes. So there I am on Wednesday, new release day, people coming in and out all day. I'm like, man, this Trenta-sized Starbucks that I drank just went right through me. So I go back to use the bathroom. And I'm standing there doing my business. And I notice something out of the corner of my eye. And I look down at my floor drain. And I see a small little snake head sticking up out of it. I'm like, well, at least I'm already going to the bathroom, right? Like that helps. So, but he doesn't do anything. He's just, his little head's poking up. So I finish my business, wash my hands, and then just really, I'm like, what am I going to do about this? There is a snake.
You got on top of the toilet. Like,
oh. So I go back out front and like, you know, some people are really afraid of snakes. So I don't want to be like, oh, snake in the back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's just not something you do. So I wait till the store's empty again. And I'm like, well, I guess I'll just call around to some animal control places and see what I can find. So I call 3 places. The first one, no one answers. The second one, they're like, sorry, all of our wildlife experts are like on other jobs today and can't get there. And the third place was like, oh yeah, we can send somebody out. It'll cost $350 to remove it. I was like, no, thank you.
Hey, dude, I'll do it for I would have done it for like $330.
Well, maybe next time.
Yeah. That's the friendship discount.
No, right? But anyway, I eventually got a hold of a customer who I thought might know somebody that would do it. You know how like, you know, a guy that'll get rid of a snake for you,
Yeah.
you know, that kind of thing. And he was like, oh yeah, you know, give me like an hour or 2 and I'll come get it for you. So I was like, well, I hope that it sticks around for a while. So I go back and I check on it a couple times. And like the second or third time I checked on it, it had come all the way out of the drain. So it's just moving around the floor at this point. And I'm like, well, I guess I'll try to keep it in here. So I like stacked some long boxes across the door, hoping that it didn't like, you know, find a way around it or whatever.
You just go in there and like the long box is open. It's like going through. It's like, so do you have any G.I. Joe?
Yeah. So yeah, eventually my buddy came and got it. But the scary part was when he first got there, we couldn't find the snake. I'm like, oh, this is terrifying. Like, did it come out of the bathroom? Is it down in the drain? Like, who knows? So he kind of hung out for a while and he's like, I'll check one more time before I leave. And thankfully it was in there again.
Yeah.
So he got rid of it for me. I think it was either because I got 2 opinions on it. He thought it was a baby copperhead snake. And then another opinion I got was that it was a banded water snake. And after looking at Google images of both, it really could have been either one because it was just a little guy. It was probably only like 8 or 9 inches long. But I'd like to tell myself that it was the water snake because of the two, that one is not poisonous.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was just what I needed on a new release day was a fucking snake in my bathroom.
uh, yeah, I mean, if you get a Yelp review that's, like the name is not a snake, but they just have a lot of S's and everything, and it's like a low star, it was the snake.
Right? Like one star, no Cobra comics.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sorry. I'll stalk Serpent Society, I promise. All right, folks, welcome back. If you would like to hear me talk about a snake encounter inside my very own store this week, then go check out our YouTube channel. That is Two Worlds Podcast on YouTube, and you'll get all the slithery little deets. But now, Casey and I are going to talk about some comics. So, Casey, which books did you read this week?
I read A Town Called Terror, #2, Power Rangers, #19, The Flash, 782, the all new, all different Savage Avengers, #1, Batman Superman World's Finest, #3, Iron Fist, #3, Silk, #5, and Thor, #25. What about you, man?
I read a lot.
Nice.
So I read Duo #1, Nightwing 92, New Mutants 25, Fables 151, all new, all different Savage Avengers #1, Batman Superman World's Finest 3, Thor 25, Batman Shadow War Zone, Silk #5, The Flash 782, Batman the Knight #5, and Iron Fist #3.
I forgot Batman the Knight.
Oh, well, that's a shame.
Yeah, was it good?
I mean, it's been as good as every other issue.
I gotcha.
So you did do Warzone? Shadow Warzone?
No, I did not.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't know, because I forgot that was I was like, I don't even know what this is, and I just went past it. But apparently it's a tie-in, so that sucks that I missed that, because now as you say it out loud, I realize what it is. When I was reading it, I was like, I don't need to read that.
Yeah, I mean, you really didn't need to read it, but it's just showing what everybody's doing during the events,
I gotcha.
I think I've got a couple more, so I'm gonna start it off if that's all right.
Yeah, of course, dude.
All right. So Shadow War Zone. And this is just like a bunch of little stories, but the first one is Old Friends by Joshua Williamson and Otto Schmidt. And it's pretty neat. It's just Black Canary versus like the hot demon lady that works for Talia. I don't know what her name is.
I think that's her name, Hot Demon Lady, that works for Talia.
Yeah, probably. But it's neat. It's just Otto Schmidt drawing ladies fighting. So, pretty cool stuff. And then we've got a Talia story called Inner Demon by Nadia Shamas and Sweeney Boo on the art. And it's just like a young Talia story about how terrible her childhood was, kind of. Then we've got Panic Room, which was by Ed Brisson and Mike Bowden. And it's like Ghostmaker, Clown Hunter heavy. It was fine. I think they're going to continue that in Batman Inc. Then we've got a Harley Quinn story, and I am struggling to find the creative team. But yeah, this one was fine. I did really like the art in this one. Here we go. It's written by Stephanie Phillips and art is done by Anne Molina. So yeah, like I said, this wasn't necessary. It just kind of gives you some like filler info that you're not going to get during the main series, which in this instance I appreciated. Sometimes these are like throwaway books, but this one was pretty neat. Also, it's an homage cover to that one X-Men book that gets done all the time.
Yeah, nice.
Or I mean, this is a variant, but still the A cover is good too.
Wait, so one question, does it, because if I'm remembering correctly, the last issue of the Shadow War stuff, Respawn gets like killed. Does that show anything that happens there? Or okay.
Nope.
That's all I was wondering.
Yeah. Okay,
You
next.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you want to do another one?
Yeah. I'll do Batman the Night real quick.
Bi-Curious Batman book.
Yep, that's the one.
BCB. B.
It's by old Chirp Zdarsky, and the art is done by Carmine Di Giandomenico. But yeah, it's pretty neat. It's just like Bruce and his new friend being trained by like this lady. It's like a master of disguises, and they're basically having a race to infiltrate this US embassy party and get this like black book out of there essentially. So it's pretty cool to see them like just handle that situation. It was pretty neat. Also, Bruce maybe shares a steamy moment with his friend.
Since it's a master of disguise, and just so you know, this is the dumbest thing, so just be
I already
prepared.
know where this is going.
Is there a part when he's trying to get into like, you know, the turtle club, but like he's just not turtley enough?
Oh, dude, as soon as you said I have a question, I was like, oh, he's gonna do a turtle club joke.
Like I've never even seen that movie because I was like, and we were like middle school, and I was like, this is too stupid for me.
I have seen it, but it's been that long and
Yeah.
it's not memorable enough.
Except for the turtle, turtley enough part.
Right. But overall, I like the issue. I'm gonna give it like an 8.
Nice. I will go with A Town Called Terror by Steve Niles and Seisman Kudransky on the art. This art in this book is wild. It's just like, it's doing stuff a lot different than what you normally see from comics. And his wife still kind of like trying to figure out what the heck happened to him and why he's gone. And then he's now having to do some work for his dad. And he kills a Frankenstein monster too. It's pretty crazy, pretty gruesome, pretty ooky spooky. It's fun. I'm very much still interested in what's going on, even though I'm not overly invested. I'm just like, yeah, I can keep reading this. I don't hate it. So I'm gonna go with probably a 7 out of 10. It's not, I would never say to someone like, dude, you should be reading this book. But it's like, hey, you want to read another book? This is okay. Might as well. The art's pretty cool. I think when it gets adapted to an AMC TV show, it's going to lose a lot because the art won't be as cool. But
right. Okay. Next for me is Duo #1. That's written by Greg Pak and pencils are by Koi Pham. I picked this up because it's like an Earth M as in milestone book, and I like to support the milestone books. It was pretty neat. This husband and wife like develop these nanobots that like they're almost there to repairing living things, like from nothing. They like cut off like a bonsai tree limb or whatever, and it comes back, just not with the leaves and stuff. And they're trying to sell it to like a big like pharmaceutical company or something like that, or some sort of like healing tech company. But but the guy's like, nah, I don't really want to fund it, but I'll buy it from you for $1 billion. They're like, nah, we don't want to do that. So they take their stuff and they leave. Well, then that dude sends these creature assassins to kill them and take that info, because that's what Big Pharma does. Am I right,
Yeah,
fellas?
pretty much. And then just
And
like little laser lights go like right on our heads, and we just both get our brains blown out because we're talking bad about them.
I know, right? But anyway, one of the creatures like sets off a bomb in their house, and they're like, the husband is burning, and so the gal grabs the nanobots and releases it, and he blacks out with the nanobots swirling around him. And he wakes up in a hospital and he's totally fine, but he finds out that his wife didn't make it. So but he starts to hear like voices in his head, and he can't pin down what it is. So he leaves the hospital and he's being tailed by more of those creatures, and the nanobots are like healing him as he's getting attacked by the creatures. And then the nanobots form this cool armor on him. And then he goes inside of his own mind and finds his wife's consciousness there, and learns that they are going to share one mind, but his body, and take out all the creatures. And then the issue ends with the big pharma guy essentially saying, I'll have to send bigger guns after him. And there's like a group of people in the background, and it says next, Rise of the Immutables. So yeah, I had pretty low expectations, but it was still a pretty neat read. Hopefully I made it sound at least a little bit interesting.
It does sound cool, man.
So yeah, I'll keep going with it until it's either, not interesting or whatever. But I'm gonna give it like a strong 6.5. It was a solid first issue.
All right, as someone that doesn't know much about Milestone, is this a Greg Pak like original, or is this another one of those ones where it's like this is Milestone past type of thing?
I don't know the answer to that question, because if it was one, it was like a super mini series or something.
I gotcha.
I think it's original, but
Right on. I like Greg Pak. He's hit and miss, but when he hits, he does well.
yeah.
All right. I'll get to my last book before we get to the ones we read together. Power Rangers number 19 by Ryan Parrott and Marco Renna on the art. Last issue I wasn't super hot on, but this one's actually pretty cool. You had old Trini and what's his name? The Black Ranger. What's his name? I want to say it's Alex, but I know it's not
Zach?
Alex. Yeah, Zach. They are, they got that little baby that grows up really quick. It's and then he like Trini's like, don't name it because that's gonna make us be connected to it. And Trini's gone. And he's named, and then he of course names it because he's a big softie. And then she's like, oh, why did you do that? But then like the little guy starts talking, his name's Journey, starts, says his name, and they're like, oh, like they both, are very much bonded with this baby that's only like probably a couple hours old. That's already aging pretty quick. And then you had the old Red Ranger teaming up with this other mystery ranger, and they're fighting a bunch of guys and killing. And then it cuts back to Zach and Trini with the kid and stuff. And it was a good read. Like I said, I was like, I'm about to drop this, and then they give me this, and I'm like, I'm gonna stick around. But yeah, I liked it a lot. I'm gonna give it we'll go with an 8.
Okay.
Out of 10.
All right, so I've got 3 more before our mutuals, so I'll try to be brief here. We got Nightwing 92. It's written by Tom Taylor and art by Bruno Redondo. And it starts off with like a throwback of him being Robin. But overall, this issue really wasn't that bad. There's a really good Bruce and Alfred moment where Alfred has to tell Bruce to not be a dick and to be a father to Dick.
Yeah.
And I talk crap on Tom Taylor sometimes, but he does do those scenes pretty well.
Yeah, that's where he excels.
Yeah. So that's pretty nice. And then it cuts to present day where Dick is at the opening of the Haven, which is that area for the homeless and downtrodden and all that stuff. And Bruce ends up showing up there. And that's the first time we've seen him, interact with Dick for a little while outside of like crossover stuff and other books. But then old Mayor Blockbuster shows up too, and he and Bruce kind of have a dick swinging contest for a second, which is a little weird.
I know that's not what you mean, but I like to think that they just pick up Grace and start throwing him around.
Yeah,
look how strong I am. He's like, guys, stop! I'm getting a tummy ache.
And then another cool little moment is Dick Grayson is like, you can try to kill me today if you want to, but I have another special guest that's here for the opening. And any guesses who it is, Casey?
No.
It's Superman.
Oh, okay.
John Kent. So John's there and he's talking to the kids and taking selfies and all that. And Blockbuster just kind of walks off. And then that night, of course, a bunch of masked people show up and start setting fire to the Haven and stuff like that. So everybody's got to come together and stop them. And whenever Desmond realizes that this is going to be a gigantic failure, he hears a commotion outside and he opens the door. And finally, for the first time in a while, we see that guy that's like taking people's hearts, and he's there. And the guy's like, I saw you in the park today with Dick Grayson. I have a proposal. And then it ends. So
it's like next issue, Blockbuster's wedding.
Dude, you were on one today. So yeah, I'm going to give this one like a 7. It's one of the better issues that we've had, even if there are a couple of dumb things. Like the biggest complaint I have about it is he does the stupid thing he always does. It's a major trope in comics where at the beginning he says a line as young Dick Grayson, and then later we see Nightwing and he repeats that line, and it drives me nuts. Stop doing it. Stop doing it. Everybody does it. It's a trope. We don't like it. Stop it. Okay.
Oh, was the art really good though?
Always. Bruno Redondo is an S tier artist. All right. Then I picked up New Mutants 25 because the cover is cool with magic and it's supposed to be the start of a new arc. And I thought, I don't read enough Marvel titles, so I'm going to try this out this week. So it's written by Vita Ayala, and Rod Rice is the artist. This book was awesome. It was amazing. I'm going to keep reading it, and I hope that it stays this good. But essentially, Magic doesn't want to be the ruler of hell, so she's passing on the queendom to Madeline Pryor. Madeline Pryor? Is that who that? Yeah, okay. And Danny Moonstar and Wolfsbane are like, this is a bad idea. We shouldn't trust her. Why are you doing this? And Magic's like, this place made me like hate my life and myself for so long. I don't want to be here anymore. So it's time to move on. So yeah. There's also some like really cool painted like storybook-esque pages throughout that tell the story of a little goblin, and that's a metaphor for magic, and it's super awesome. But Rod Rice's art just knocks us out of the park. And right before Magic, seals the deal with Madeline, this beefed up demon with a bunch of other demons come to kill them because the demon wants to be the ruler here. And they all have to jump through one of Magic's portals to escape with their lives. And they find out that they are actually still in limbo and they don't know what they're going to do. So, yeah. And then at the last few pages are a young Magic in limbo story, which is really cool. And just everything about this was awesome, man. I mean, this is exactly what I want for a Magic story.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, it's like I don't know if you're gonna like it as much once it's not a Magic centered story, because it sounds like this is heavy on the Magic, and that's like one of your favorite X-Men characters.
Yeah. I mean, whenever it's not, then I'll either drop it or it'll be good enough that I'll want to check it out. But
Yeah.
I mean, this you always used to talk about Liam Sharp flexing on Green Lantern. This is Rod Rice flexing between the regular stuff and then the storybook stuff. Both are insane. So I'm gonna give this a 10. Like, if you guys need to check out an X-Men book, this is the one to start on if you like non-conventional X-Men stuff and you like, you know, supernatural type stuff. It was awesome.
Right on, man. Oh, and really quick, I just remembered something that I've been like meaning to talk about since I've started listening to it, but I haven't been able to. I started listening to the new Batman podcast. It's the Batman Unburied, and I think it's 6 episodes in or so now. But it's like it starts off with Batman, or it's Bruce Wayne living in this world where he's like both his parents are still alive, and he is working in a morgue, and then like he gets attacked by this serial killer. And at first I was like, I don't know where this is going. And then like you get to the second episode and like there's this big kind of reveal at the end of the second episode. And you're like, what? And then it starts following this other character and stuff. It's really, really cool if you're just a fan of like story-based podcast, you know, like the old-timey radio type shows, like that type of thing, and Batman and that type of stuff. It's really cool. I would highly recommend it.
I've heard pretty mixed things about it, but that you said one of the better reviews for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's I went into it at first going like, this is weird. It's not Batman. It's a neat story though. Like I like the story. And then as it progresses, I'm like, oh, okay. Cause like I knew something had to be up since they're calling it Batman. And then like as it progressed, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm into this.
Good. I'm glad that you like it.
Yeah, man.
Okay, final book that I read without Casey is Fables number 151, which is the Black Forest part 1 of 12.
And they get ham from there, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Will you stop?
Nope.
You're out of control.
Hey,
all
YouTubers,
right.
put down below. Do you want me to stop or you want me still being hilarious? Just let us know.
Here we go. This was written by Bill Willingham, and the art is done by Mark Buckingham. Lots of hams going on.
Yeah.
But this was cool. I've never read Fables before, but there's like talking animals and a magic forest, and this lady, she's like a cool archer type lady, and she keeps calling herself Jack in the Green, and that seems to be a title because she meets some guy in this magic forest with a talking duck who claims that he's the Jack in the Green. She's like, well, I'm the new one and I'm an archer now. And I don't really know what that means, but I'm looking forward to it. And then we get a little bit of Bigby Wolf, who I know is a thing. Just had a crossover with Batman not too long ago. And I think he had like a Telltale series made on him too. Yeah, and then at the very end, some burnt zombie lady regenerates and comes back to life. I don't really know what all's going on, man, but I like it. It's well written and the art's cool.
I mean, honestly, that series always came off as one that would be 100% in your alley. So it makes sense that you like it.
Yeah. So maybe one of these days I'll get the trades and do a little catch up.
Yeah.
But for like a 12-part series, like I wasn't so lost that I'm like, I can't keep up with this. So I'm gonna keep going with it. I'm gonna give it an
Right
8
on,
out of
man.
10.
Right on. Okay, what is the order that you want to do this in?
Let's end on Thor because I
That's what I
hope
figured.
I hope that we both like that one.
Yeah, you probably liked it.
Um,
You might have liked it more than me, but I still enjoyed it.
Otherwise, we can maybe alternate. So let's do. I'm going to start from the bottom here. So let's do Thor, then Flash,
Okay.
then Silk.
Ooh, I had Iron Fist, but okay. I just want to see
Um,
how in sync we are. Let's do this.
And then Silk, then World's Finest. And then we'll do Iron Fist and then Avengers.
Yeah, so I had it Silk, I had Iron Fist, Silk, World's Finest, Avengers. But I mean, I'll take it the way you did. I was just hoping we were, synced up, but I guess we aren't.
Nope. Not
We would
this time.
we would lose on newlyweds this week for sure. Okay, so the all new, all different. I mean, it's not really that different. Pretty much kind of the same. Savage Avengers, issue 1. And I'm going to find the creatives. This is by David Pepose and Carlos Magno. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, you get Conan fighting Deathlock, which is not something I ever thought I would say. And then you get all these other kind of, stuff. It's a solid first issue. What'd you think?
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, it was basically just an introduction for all the characters. So I'm looking forward to like the actual story. But the one part that kind of cracked me up is when Black Knight sees this mugging going down in the street. And by the time he gets out there, Weapon H is transformed and turns out he's not getting mugged. So that cracked me up. But no, I mean, I thought it was pretty neat. I liked it.
My one knock is like Deathlock shouldn't, like, I don't know enough about Weapon H to really say this, but like the fact that he's just like, I can take all the gamma energy and be super strong. It's like Deathlock couldn't do that to Hulk. So why is he able to do that to Weapon H?
Well, dude, I'm like, I remember reading this and thinking, is Deathlock strong enough to take on any of these people? Like,
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know his power levels, but I'm like, dude, there's like a Hulk Wolverine mashup, like Venom, Elektra. Like, there's a lot of strong people here.
I mean, it's like the way I've always understood with Deathlock, like he could probably like Conan, Elektra, and Dane, and then maybe like skill wise be able to mess with Cloak and Dagger, but then like Anti-Venom and Weapon H should be able to take him no problem. Just from the stuff I've always understood, it's like kind of like plot armor that he was able to beat them, but
it's still fun, and that's all we want from this book. So
it's 100% what I expected. The only thing that I was surprised by was I wasn't, like I said, wasn't expecting Deathlock to be fighting them. I figured it would just be a team book, but it's like you can tell the hero abilities of everyone else, because it's like even Weapon H and whatever his name, Weapon H and Dane, when they see each other, like you would think Dane would be like, oh, there's the monster guy, I gotta fight him. And then no, they're like, nah, whatever. It's like that guy was clearly trying to mug you. I'm not gonna step in on that. Whatever, man.
Well, Dane had to suffer being written by Cy Spurrier for 6 issues, so cut him some slack.
No, I mean, I'm saying like that's cool, because it's like normally you would have seen all of them fight, but it's like they're all like, no, we're not idiots, we know what's going on, this is the one bad guy here, and that's Deathlock,
Right.
So yeah, I like that a lot. So yeah, where you at with it, man?
Probably like a 7. Yeah,
I was at 7.5. That was pretty good.
Yeah. All right, then we've got Iron Fist, and that is by Alyssa Wong and Michael. I don't know if the Y is silent like a lot of other names. So Michael G or Michael Yig. But yeah, I really dug this issue.
Mhm.
We got the little twist about the gal's dad, and he looked crazy, by the way, with
Yeah.
all those horns coming out of him. But I'm just glad that the story is starting to just get into the full swing of things. And the only thing that I'm not buying is all these shards in his arm and hand still. I just feel like whenever he punched something, he'd be in so much agonizing pain.
Yeah.
And then what does he do at the end but add even more shards to his arm?
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty goofy, but if I had to guess, you were very excited for that last page.
Yeah. And if I had to guess, you're gonna have nightmares after, you had nightmares after reading that because you're not a spider guy.
I'm not a spider guy, but I'd let her kill me. No, it's cool. The art's really good. I like how all the characters are written. I'm all on board for this. I think the next issue is going to be cool.
Yeah. No, and anytime we get 9 spiders and Fat Cobra, it's a good time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I liked it. I'm gonna give it 8.5.
And I'm at a 9, so we're pretty close there.
Okay, so Batman Superman World's Finest with Dan Moore's art and Mark Waid writing. And this is a good time. Like, yeah, I mean, you have Batman Superman teaming up and doing some cool stuff. You have Robin and Supergirl teaming up in the past, and then you got some Doom Patrol stuff going on. It's good. What'd you think though?
I'm right there with you. As always, Dan Moore's art is ridiculous.
Yep.
But it's just cool to see everybody that's at play here. And that last page reveal is pretty insane too. It's cool to see who all the Devil Neza has influenced. And I'm hoping that we get to see some cool Dan Mora Green Lantern construct stuff happen.
Yeah. Same. Like the one part that it seems like that Mark Waid likes Superman a whole lot more than Batman in this. Like the part whenever like Batman's like, we're in hell, I got the spooks, and like Superman's just kind of like, shut up, I'm gonna save the day. And then he saves the day. And then like later on there, where were they? There's another part that was kind of like similar where they're fighting the Flash villains, and Superman ends up helping them, and he's like, oh, I had that, and he's like, oh, okay, whatever, man.
Yeah, I agree.
But no, I liked it. I think Mark Waid's killing it. And I will say this though, the one knock on Dan Moore's art, like it's amazing, but there's times where it just looks posed, like the action shots don't look as actiony as they should, and like some of the stuff looks kind of posed. Like this looks so crazily stiff the way he's holding Batman. It just looks like
also like I feel like the cape would be under the armpits
yeah
too.
And then like, but I will say too though, there's this one scene, not scene, but one page that I'm like, this is so cool. Like, I mean, first off, how he did Flash here. I love how Flash is in the panels, and he has another part with Batman that's very similar. I'm trying to find right now where, right here, for those that are watching. It's really, really cool. It's big explosions all in the panel, and Batman's kind of jumping out of the panel. It's really, really nice. But yeah, I liked it. I'm at an 8.5. What about you, man?
I was actually going to say 8.5.
Ooh, in sync. Bye.
All right. Next is Silk, number 5. It's written by Emily Kim with art by Takeshi Miyazawa. And I guess this is the end of the series, which is a shame that we just keep getting these little arcs. Hopefully it gets another one. But,
it's like next one, she's gonna have another new love interest. So like the one after that, then all of them are gonna, get to, meet up, and she's like, oh no, what am I gonna do?
Like a Scott Pilgrim thing, or
I don't know. I'm just saying it's gonna be like it's like Silk and the love quadrihegan.
right. But this was cool. I mean, she does wrap up a couple of things and gets a hobby, I guess.
Yeah,
But
getting in
I
touch with her
liked it.
roots.
Yeah,
J.
I
Jonah
liked it.
Jameson's
And
great in
Jay
it
Jonah,
too.
yeah, exactly. Jay Jonah is hilarious in it. Um, it was just a solid series, a really solid series.
I'm not gonna lie, and it started with Zdarsky's run on Spider-Man that like kind of like switched J. Jonah Jameson. But this version of J. Jonah Jameson is my favorite version because it's just like it's just the supportive J. Jonah that's like, yeah, spider people,
Right.
go.
But he's also still like, get me pictures of
Yeah,
Silk.
yeah, which is like,
Good balance.
I get it, but yeah. I like this. I liked it a lot. I'm gonna give this a 9, and probably the series as a whole a 9. It's Silk's awesome. You need to be reading all of the Silk.
Yeah. Man, not to just copy you, but again, it really is just that good. So I'm gonna give it a 9.
Okay, so next is The Flash, and this is by Jeremy Adams, and we got the art is by dang it, I don't see it. Right here. It's Fernando Pasarin and Matt Ryan on the art, and I like this a lot. It's just a fun time. Again, like Jeremy Adams and Josh Williamson have done so much for Wallace West to make that character just so much fun and so great. And this is just a funny, good, solid issue. What did you think of it?
Honestly, I thought it was hilarious. The whole magnet thing.
Yeah, that's the hilarious thing with Girder. This like it goes back to like Jeff Johns' run too. Like every time I've seen him, I'm always like, this guy looks awesome and he looks dangerous, but every time he gets beaten in the dumbest ways. Like I remember in the Jeff Johns run, like Wally hit some sprinklers and he just rusted.
That is funny.
So it's like I'm just like, man, he looks awesome, but boy, he's kind of lame.
Yeah, he is for sure. And then we get a cool team up for pretty much the whole thing. And then the kids find out that mom has some powers.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I love this issue. This is my pick of the week, honestly. I just think it's a really great time, and I love what Jeremy Adams is doing, and I love the humor throughout, because every time like Wally would say something just weird, they'd be like, how did you end up with Linda? And he's like, I don't know.
yeah, that was funny. I forgot about that.
But yeah, it was a good time. I'm gonna give it I'm gonna say 9.5 out of 10, almost a perfect.
I'm at like an 8. The thing that bothers me is like I'll either forget or not read an issue, and then I'll read an issue and think this was awesome. I can't wait for the next one. And then the next one's a tie-in for an event coming up. And it happens here too.
Yeah.
I don't care about the Suicide Squad event. And I don't really care about this tie-in to Dark Crisis. Like, I just want the Flash series.
The Dark Crisis one is at least a little bit better because that's one that we're gonna actually read.
Yeah.
So, at least it's that, and like the Suicide Squad one where it's like the Suicide Squad story was still fun, but the like I don't know what ended up happening there.
Yeah. All right. And finally, we've got Thor number 25 by Donny Cates and Martin Kokolo on the art. And this is Banner of War Part 2. So this is pretty much nonstop action throughout. And then
this one was a lot chattier than the last one.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, a lot of it takes place inside of Banner's head, which is what it is. But I still liked it. I like seeing what Odin looks like inside of his head, which is just a ponytail and a flannel. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? um, but no, I thought it was neat. I actually liked all the other stories too. There was a cool Enchantress story, and I didn't really mind the Loki one either. Like it was a very Loki story.
Well, that story is the same, like that, because that's from the that's the actual myth stuff. Because you talked about that with the Neil Gaiman story. That's just, they changed it up a little bit to fit the Marvel stuff, but
Yeah,
it was pretty funny.
yeah, I liked it.
I was
What were
I
your
was
thoughts?
I was disappointed with the Tom DeFalco and Ron Finn's one, because when I saw that, I'm like, Thunderstrike. And then it was Enchantress. I'm like, oh, whatever. I don't want that. But
Was that the only reason you didn't like it? Because it wasn't Thunderstrike?
I mean, that's what I was wanting, and I didn't get it, and now I gave them a very bad Yelp review. But I mean, I thought it was fine, but I'm not an Enchantress fan. Like, she has never enchanted me, so I wasn't invested. I didn't care. The other story was fun. I didn't care too much for the art though. And then this main story, um, I thought it was fine. I think like it was just kind of like a lot of, in my opinion, it was a lot of build up for just that final thing. And honestly, too, the history of Thor and Hulk, I think Hulk or Thor would have had a better chance of talking to Hulk than Banner. Like when he's like fighting them, he's like, "Oh, Banner, you gotta think about," he would have been better off just trying to like appeal to Hulk, because Hulk would have, with their history, would have been, more more likely to be like, "Yeah, you're right. I don't want to be doing this," even though he's not in any control.
Right. Well, I'm still giving it like an 8.5. I thought there were a lot more good than bad in this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's a perfectly fine issue, but it did, like I said, it just felt like build up to the big celestial mech that Iron Man's got. So yeah, I'm probably at an 8. I liked it still. It's just, it was fine.
Okay. And you said your pick of the week, but I didn't. It is actually New Mutants number
I
25.
figured
Yeah.
with your new comic book crush.
Dude, I mean, you saw the art.
Yep. So what are you excited for this coming week, man? Because this is a big week for me. Is it a big week for you?
I mean, there's quite a bit. Yeah. I'm gonna say Moon Knight. Um there's a new series. Where is it? Oh, Triskel, because it looks like a fun new fantasy comic that I
Yeah,
got.
I Googled that because I was like, I wonder what this is. And then I was like, oh, that's 100% Jake's wheelhouse.
Yep. Yep. I ordered it for me, but got a few extra in case
Yeah.
someone else wanted it. And then I'm not sure. Maybe that DC Vampires Hunters one shot, because the cover that's advertised and all these other books make it look really cool.
Right on. So I'm gonna go Saga, Hulk, and I'll say Godzilla and my Morph Power Rangers.
Right on.
But there's a bunch of other books I'm reading. It's gonna be a lot of me talking next week for sure.
Yeah.
All right, and then no Fantastic Four this week. I did see a tweet that I was gonna talk about with Jake though, just to get his opinion and see what and you guys can chime in about this. So this person, I didn't look at their name until now. It's at Jamaligi on Twitter. Their name though is Fred Garvin, male prostitute, and they got the blue check mark, so they're legit. But they go, if Marvel and DC paid even a 0.5% royalty on gross film revenue to the original creators of, say, Captain Marvel or Aquaman, $1 billion in ticket sales, said creator would receive $5 million for life. That's life-changing money. Think about that. Creators deserve more. Even if you give someone 0.05% of the total, that's still $500,000. Most people will never see $500,000 in their lifetimes, and it could literally give an older creator a retirement nest egg. Now, I know the argument some people will make is that the creators who sign work for higher contracts know that they're what they're getting into. I understand that. I've made similar arguments when people claim that the creators had their properties stolen from them. In some cases, specifically Bill Finger and Jerry Robinson. It's true. That said, up until even the 1990s, if it wasn't Superman, Batman, or Spider-Man, there was no guarantee any comic book property was going to have any kind of media shelf life. Does anyone even remember the John Sable TV series or the Rick Springfield Human Target series, or how many Spider-Man films in various stages of production before Sam Raimi, Generation X, Hell, Mutant X? It's a different playing field now. Frankly, the argument that it's too complicated to figure out who should get paid for what is complete bull crap, considering how many people get paid for a single film's receipts outside of the original production. And so and then this other person responds and it's like, but would it go to the creator of the title character? Is it split between writers and artists? What about secondary or minor characters like Mara, Black Manta, Monica Rambeau, the Skrulls, or even Nick Fury? So my whole question, and what we can talk about is, what do you think on this? How do you think they can pay creators for these movies when they do take, like we saw in the Thor trailer, where they took a panel from that, like how would they, what's the best route to actually get these people money back basically for their creations?
I mean, offhand, I'm going to say, and there's probably a better way to do it, but this is mostly in regards to like, where do you draw the line? Even if it's like 0.01%, if something from a creator is used, it's flat 0.01% for everybody. Doesn't matter what it is, because those guys are going to be happy with that over what they're getting now.
Yeah.
Like, it's whenever you start to do tiers that it gets like the lines get blurred a little bit.
I mean, I think the tier, like doing the different tiers could work, but I do agree with that. Like when they take a shot for shot remake of the comic, it's like that, at least the artist, maybe not the writer, deserves that for, deserve at least, because they're the storyboard people are just stealing from what they read the comic,
Mm-hmm.
So
and yeah, like it sucks if one panel is getting the same payout as whoever created the character, but you got to think it's something, and they're not getting anything right now other than special thanks at the end of the credits. So like, at least that percentage is going to everybody.
Yeah. And I think though it should be tier related, like how you kind of say, even though it does kind of make the, murk up the water or whatever. Cause like you could then have like, let's just say, okay, if Stan Lee was still alive and they do a move like the Avengers, he's getting paid, 5% of the box office. Like that's just what he would get, because he made all the characters except for Captain America, and he created the first Avengers, so he gets paid that much money, and it's like fair. And then but then what if they took stuff from the comics, the different stories that they kind of borrowed stuff from, then you kind of divvy it out. It's like they get the 0.1%, they get whatever, and kind of divvy out that way. And like you kind of have like a just set in the like the budget, be like, okay, 10% set aside in the budget, and then we'll do it. So like and then you're not gonna ever have the the Stan Lee worries anymore, because sadly he's passed away, and you're never gonna have 50 different characters made by one guy, so you don't ever have to worry about paying someone that much money now. And so you just go about it that way, and I think that's the best way of doing it, because then you can give them a little bit of something, and then you won't look near as bad when your movie makes $1 billion, and then you have these people having to do stuff to the Hero Initiative so that they can still stay alive.
Yeah. I mean, the 0.01%, $100,000, no one's going to complain about that.
No. I mean, heck, even if you did less than that, so that they're getting $10,000, that's still a lot of money for anybody,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just, they need to do something for these guys.
Hopefully that gets enough traffic that something gets done.
I mean, I highly doubt it. The dude's name on there is the male prostitute, so
Still, All right. Well, thanks for bringing that discussion, man. I think that's the end of the episode.
Yep.
So if you would, please go to facebook.com/2worldspodcast and give the page a like. You can also follow us on Twitter at 2_worlds_PC and on Instagram at 2worldspod. You can email us at 2worldspodcast@gmail.com. And if you would, please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe to the page. That is 2 Worlds Podcast on YouTube.
And if you watched all of this, leave us a comment down below, and tell us if you think me and Jake should cosplay as him, hook hand, long hair Aquaman, and me, mullet Superman. Just let us know if you think that that's a good idea or not.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we'd love to stay and chat, but we have to go ride horses and fuck.
Bye, guys.
Bye.